Ever wondered what the rising tide of immigration might mean for Britain's public finances? Well, pull up a chair and lend an ear, because the Institute of Fiscal Studies, IFS, has recently shared some sobering news. Currently, Britain is on a path that could see an extra £100 billion in taxes by the end of this decade. This is due, in part, to the surge in net migration that is placing increasing pressure on public services. The IFS warns that the tax burden is set to rise sharply, despite tax cuts announced in the autumn statement. Chancellor Jeremy Hunt is reportedly considering further measures to alleviate the burden, such as cutting national insurance and vape tax in the upcoming budget. This year, Britain will be paying an extra £66 billion, compared to a scenario where public finances had remained on their pre-COVID path. By 2028, the increase in tax revenues will be equivalent to £104 billion in today's money. These figures, the IFS claims, are a result of a conscious decision by the Prime Minister to increase the size of the state. As we look forward, the tax burden is predicted to rise from 33% of GDP before the pandemic to a record 37.7% by the end of the decade. This is driven by Chancellor's decision to continue the tax raid initiated by his predecessor, Rishi Sunak. Hunt has frozen income tax thresholds for 6 years and increased corporation tax from 19% to 25% last year. But it's not just the tax burden that's causing concern. The IFS warns that the surge in net migration means spending on public services per person will barely grow for the rest of the decade, leading to a £25 billion black hole in public spending. The government is now on course to spend £150 less per person on public services by 2028, as a larger population, driven by higher immigration, stretches Whitehall budgets. The Office for National Statistics predicts the population will rise from 67 million in 2021 to 73.7 million by 2036, with over 6 million of that increase driven by net migration. While faster population growth could boost revenues through higher taxes, public sector spending per head is predicted to rise by just 0.2% per year after the election under current plans. The IFS also points out that if the latest population projections are correct, the average annual growth in real-term spending per capita falls to just 0.2% a year. To prevent a cut in per capita spending, a cash injection of £25 billion would be needed. To sum up, rising immigration and tax burdens are projected to stretch Britain's public finances thin. The IFS warns that the current trajectory could see a considerable increase in taxes by the end of the decade, with public service spending per person barely growing. It's a complex situation, and one that will undoubtedly shape the fiscal landscape of Britain in the years to come.